back to Aubrey Books and Coffee. Please grab your favorite beverage of choice and join me. It's the end of June, everybody, and it is hot. We still have July and August in this heat. I don't know how the Aubrey household is going to make it. You guys, we're the ones who don't turn on our heat until it dips below 60 in the winter. So we're the ones that like it to be around 64. That's like our perfect zone right there. And our house is like 74 at all times because it's 100 degrees outside. So we'll take a 20-degree improvement, and we try not to gripe, but it's really hot. But regardless, I am still drinking my coffee because I love my coffee, and I'm still reading books because what else do you have the energy to do but read? So let's get started on reviewing all the books that I read in June. Starting off with some fun stats, as always, because I'm the nerd who loves stats. I read a total of 27 books this month, and I really enjoyed being in the Pathfinders for the Readathon with Bree, 4 Paws and a Book, the amazing Readathon. To make sure I didn't burn myself out, though, I did go with the Pathfinder plan, which that group was all vibes, you guys. Like, we knew ahead of time what all the prompts were going to be. We could read them in any order. There was no stress. You could skip them because we weren't going for the points. We were going just for the vibes. Highly recommend that, guys. It made it so fun. It made my journal spreads really beautiful with all the cool graphics and stuff that she made for us and little postcards of each place that you visited. And it was just so much fun. It really, really was. So I recommend it next year for you guys. But of these 27 books, it ended up going to about 8,842 pages that I read, which gave me 6 3 stars, 11 4 stars, 3 5 stars, and 7 DNFs. I am getting picky as I go. I am 100% not sticking with a book that I am not feeling anymore. This gave me an average of 4.0 star rating. So I think that's what I need to do. I think it's not worth it. If I'm feeling it's not even a enjoyable 3-star, it's time to go ahead and jump ship. And so I recommend that for you guys too. Reading should not be homework. It should be for fun. My main genres, of course, as always, were fantasy. I had some romance and even, sadly, some horror, but that was because of that vlog you guys saw. My most common format was audiobook. That surprises nobody. And I acquired mostly from Libby this time. By far, Libby really came through for me. And then Hoopla, of course, came secondary after that. Book-wise, let's start off with Bonded by Thorns. This was incredible. This was a Beauty and the Beast retelling with a full-figured main character. Thank you. And it was really, really good. And it has a twist. So it's not full on Beauty and the Beast, but it's very heavy nods. Even to like the Disney animated movie, you hear lines almost word for word sometimes. But it's a why choose, reverse harem, however you want to call that. Spice-wise, lower than I expected. So I'm expecting the rest of the series is probably going to get heavier into this because the reverse harems typically are. But this one really wasn't too bad. There is some, but not what I expected. But it was so fun. It was an enjoyable ride. I can't wait to continue the series. I, of course, gave it 5 stars. It's sitting over there on my shelf. It was in the picture of the thumbnail. Had a great time, and I highly recommend it. Then I finished Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. This I gave 3 stars. I was sad to do it. I just didn't feel the romance connection. For me, it felt forced. It didn't feel exciting or truly genuine for me. I just didn't like it. The pacing was extremely slow in places. And yeah, I'm actually not going to continue the series of this, which makes me sad because I absolutely have loved all of Carissa Broadbent's books that I've read thus far. This one was just kind of a miss for me, and I know it's a favorite of so many, so do not let that deter you. This might be exactly up your alley, so check that out. Then I finished The Tenant, and this one I gave 4 stars. I was surprised. Frida McFadden is a hit or miss for me, so sometimes love it, sometimes not so much. This one was a hit. This is basically a roommate from hell. That shows up. There are some twists, of course, but not too many this time. So I really, really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the ending. I thought it was a great way to conclude the book, and I didn't see it coming. If you've read this, let me know if you did. Then I finished The Love Haters. This one I gave 5 stars. I was surprised how much I loved this. This, of course, followed a journalist who is about to lose her job, so she agrees to go interview and follow the day in the life of this guy's brother that she worked with. And the brother is somebody who works with the Coast Guard and rescues people, like jumps out of the helicopters and rescues them. Their relationship was very interesting. I enjoyed the only complaints I saw from people on Goodreads with this one, because I was wondering why I thought 5 star, and there were some people that were saying 1 or 2. They didn't like how much the body image was discussed, so just know that ahead of time, look at trigger warnings. But I actually really appreciated how much the author talked about the struggles that this girl had, any eating disorders and stuff that she'd had in the past, the way she views her own body and self, and then coming to love herself. I enjoyed that. I thought it was really heartfelt. I thought it was beautifully executed. I enjoyed the romance in it. I enjoyed the, exciting moments of stress that they added into the story. So I highly recommend it and love it, and I hope you all will too. Then I did not finish. I am so sorry. Don't be mad at me. I DNF'd Red Rising. I know. It's a me thing. This is a total me thing. This is a beloved series for sure. I guess I expected it more to be fantasy than fantasy sci-fi. I didn't know it was set on Mars. See, I should have done my homework. I got almost Braveheart vibes from it. I mean, did you guys? I really did almost get Braveheart from it, but on Mars. It just wasn't my writing style. The style was just, for me, like old school fantasy male authors. And so for me, it was kind of dry in places, over-explaining in places. I just wasn't vibing with it. And I thought, rather than force myself to read this and possibly give it a 3 star, and then no, I'm not going to continue the series because I'm not vibing with the writing style, why not just go ahead and DNF it, save me some time, not put any kind of bad star rating or low star rating on a book that's so beloved by everyone, and just acknowledge, not my writing style. So I'm just not going to read from this author again. And yeah, I think you ought to listen to everybody else when you decide if you want to pick it up or not. Then I finished You'll Be the Death of Me. This I gave 3 stars. It's very young. It's a group of friends that are kind of rekindling this friendship when they're in school. They come across basically a murder that takes place, and one of them gets accused of doing it. It was interesting. It just, I don't know how to word this. It got the 3 star because it's written so young, and maybe that's why the author didn't want to do a whole lot of grisliness or edge of your seatness. I know these aren't real words, but essentially it felt boring. It felt, for as much as my cats are running back and forth, as much as you should be on the edge of your seat with all this that's going on and trying to figure out who the murderer is. And there's even like a secret naughty affair happening between a teacher and a student and all these other things you're finding out. But it's like the moment that information is found out, that's exciting. That's fun. And then it's a whole lot of boring in between. So, and I think it was to make it more YA, which I get and I respect that, but for me, made it a little less enjoyable. Then I DNF'd The Baby Dragon Cafe. I know. This was one of my 25 and 2025 I was so excited to read, and unfortunately it just didn't hold up for me. I only got about 15-20% into it, and it was so boring. The premise is so cute, but I was not feeling it. I was reading it just to read it, and again, I'm trying really hard not to do that anymore. So I said not for me and did a DNF. Then I read The River Has Roots. I gave this 4 stars. It is an extremely short book if you want something just real quick and easy. This was our book club pick. Great suggestions, guys. I am loving this. There's songs in it, so beware. If you read Lord of the Rings and you didn't like the Elvish songs, you may not be as into this one. There are some singing parts, but it was actually really kind of cute and precious and has to do with the world of fairy and stuff and fae, and it was so good. I also got a little bit of Jane Austen vibes. I don't know if you guys did too, but I really did, and I enjoyed that as well. And I ultimately absolutely adore the relationship between the 2 sisters and how they work together to help each other. And that's always a win for me as well. Then I read The River We Remember. I gave this 3 stars. This was one of my library book clubs that I attend that I'm no longer attending for the rest of the year. I'll get back into that in a minute. Nothing horrible, just for me. It's a historical fiction again. These ladies absolutely love their historical fiction. There was a murder involved, but there were so many characters you're introduced to. It's almost like a Brandon Sanderson novel level of characters you're introduced to, and all in the very beginning. And so it's like you're starting to follow the thread of these, police officers who are investigating the murder, and then we jump to totally different people. And then from those people, you're starting to understand their lives, and then it jumps to totally different people. And it's like, it was really hard to keep the thread together. If they had even bounced back and forth, maybe I could have done it better. But yeah, at about 30%, I gave up. I decided to DNF it, or not DNF, excuse me, about 30%, I was thinking of DNFing it. And then the voice in my head from book club said, you are only allowed to DNF 2 in a row. And I didn't want to risk it because some of the ones coming up, I knew I wasn't going to like. And so that was when I made that decision that I'm going to muddle through so I can participate in one final book club with everybody. And I can tell everybody this is why I need to not be a part of it, because the next 5 books you guys have set for the rest of the year, I have already DNF'd, given 2 stars, or have no desire to read. And I don't want to force myself to read anymore. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be a part of that book club for the rest of the year. They were very sweet. They were like, we loved having you here, which they didn't have to say, which was really sweet. And I will miss the interaction there, but I am not sorry to get away from those books. And I don't want to show up and just listen to everybody else talk about a book I didn't read or that I hated. I don't want to bring down the discussion with negativity when it's just not for me. Then I finished Blood and Honey. This is book 2 in the series, and I gave it 3 stars, and I'm not continuing the series. I know, I'm so sorry. Basically, I love seeing Lou and Reed together. I love when they're together and they have their interactions, but the pacing was just so slow. And by the end of the book, which is a really thick one, it felt like we really didn't accomplish a lot. And so I'm just not going to finish out this series. I'm done with it. I'd heard from other people that this series, Serpent and Dove, is like so good, and then the rest not so much. I'd hoped I would be the outlier. No, I feel like that's accurate. So just prepare yourselves if you've not read this series. Then I finished Horror Store. I gave this 4 stars. I did this for my library vlog. It's creepy. It's fun. It has a lot of humor in it. If you read the physical copy at the very back, Grady Hendrix actually made himself a badge to go with this store, like if he was an employee there. It's super cute. Yeah, I had a great time with this one, as you saw in that vlog. Then I finished Incidents Around the House. I gave this 4 stars. Also in that library vlog, it was so freaking creepy, especially since it's a little girl's perspective the entire book, and the ending is absolutely wild. I did not see it coming. Then I finished Throne of Secrets. This is book 2 in the Prince of Sin series. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I think I like it better than the first one, to be honest. I really do. I still like Kingdom of the Wicked series better, but for a spinoff series, I like this one better than the previous one. So, yeah, I have high expectations for the third one, and I highly recommend the spinoff series, especially if you like Carrie Maniscalco in general. This also, if you like The Bachelor, it kind of has that. Or if you've read, what was that book series that had the girls, The Selection? If you like that, I think you'll like this too, because it has aspects of that as well. It was just a really good time. Then I ended up finishing We Who Will Die. I am a part of Stasia Stark's street team, which is exciting and such a blessing. I read this as a NetGalley arc ahead of time because of that very reason. So you'll be seeing it on my Instagram as well. I'm going to be shouting it from the rooftops. If I didn't like a book, I'd be a little more quiet about it and just tell you here. But this one was fabulous. I gave it 4 stars. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is there's places that really slow down the pacing. But outside of that, if pacing's not an issue for you, it's amazing. It feels like Gladiators meets Carissa Broadbent's world, because you have vampires in it and you have trials and things like that. And you've got people having to train to get stronger, and you've got relationships with people who are training you, and you've got friendships. So it also almost had a little bit of Tracy Wolf in there too, like from the Crave series. Yeah, it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it, and especially at the ending. So if you could, it starts off with a bang, then the middle section is where it goes really, really slow. So just pace yourself through that. And then when you get to the ending, though, it is go, 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 go time. And the very ending, I'm just sitting there going, oh, I like me a bad boy. I like me a bad boy. And so highly recommend you guys pick this one up. It was so much fun, and I am of course going to be continuing the series, and you'll be hearing, like I said, more Stasia Stark reviews from me in the future. Then I finished Dungeon Crawler Carl, like you saw on the thumbnail. I gave this 5 stars. It was so freaking funny. I love Princess Donut, the cat that accompanies Carl. Aliens have taken over the world, and in order to survive, he has to go through all these different dungeon levels that these aliens have created because they want it to be a really cool game show. So think like Hunger Games as the game show. And it's just hilarious. The people he meets on the way, the interaction between him and Donut. You get to see an interaction between him and some of the interviewers of this show and the, other people who are part of the alien race. There's challenges that have been made. It is hysterical. It is, guys, this won't ruin anything. The audience members actually made fan fiction of Carl. So you even get to hear some of the fan fiction of what people of the alien race are writing about Carl and people he comes in contact with. It is hysterical. And everybody kept saying the audiobook is really good. I started off reading it physically with my physical copy that's on my shelf, and I quickly moved into the audiobook, and I'm glad I did because it does. It just adds a whole nother layer to it that is absolutely incredible. Cannot recommend this book enough. And I am, of course, going to be continuing the series. Then I finished Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. If you remember, I read this before because Kim begged me to, and I'd never read anything from J.R. Ward before. I gave it a 3-star. It was just okay. The writing style felt really kind of old school, so like the romance writers of the 80s kind of feel to it. But Passionflix has come out with a series based solely on these books, and I wanted to give support to that because having met J.R. Ward in person and all the beautiful and incredible and uplifting things that she said for those of us that are self-published authors, I had to give a shout out. I had to go ahead, pick it up again, try it again, but this time I was going to read it and watch the episode that kind of corresponded with where I was in the book. There's no way to know 100%, but I think I paced it perfectly. So episode 4 has come out by now, and episode 5 will drop later this week. It's every Thursday, and so far it is going exactly, almost word for word. Some of the dialogue is literally word for word on the page. Some of the scenes are literally what I pictured in my head when I read it, and this has really brought the characters to life for me, and I just loved it. So that's why I got a 4-star this read, partly because I do love the author so much, but partly because it is so good when you see it on screen. Highly recommend you guys check out the Passionflix as well if you have it. I subscribed through it through Amazon. I just went on to Amazon Prime. I think it's like $6 a month. And for me, totally worth it. I usually wait and watch it on Thursday afternoon because it crashes. There are so many people that love the Black Dagger Brotherhood. They literally crash Passionflix at midnight Thursday every single week. So I wait until the afternoon and then I watch my bit of it. But absolutely recommend it. Absolutely love it. Then I finished Blood of the Chosen. This is book 2 in the series by Django Wexler and was a lovely gift from Tina. Thank you, Tina. Finally got to it, and it did not let down. I had been putting it off because I was scared because I loved Ashes of the Sun so much, but you can see it over here on my shelf. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. It was so good. I gave it 4 stars. I'm excited to read book 3 at some point and continue the series. I love seeing the interaction between siblings and love interests and things, and I can't say a lot because literally you'll figure out what happened in book 1 if I do, but it was good. It was worth the wait. It was good. I'm excited to continue. Then I finished The Boyfriend, another Frida McFadden book. This one I gave 4 stars. There were some surprise twists. And I will say, be careful not to judge somebody too quickly because I fell for that. It was a good time, excuse me, which is why I got the 4-star. I was the edge of my seat. I was excited to pick it up. It was a good ride. I will say, though, one of the twists I thought was a little unnecessary. I won't go into specifics. If you read it yourself, I'm happy to message with you and talk about it and see what you thought. But outside of that, yeah, it was a really good time. I'm glad I read it, and I highly recommend it. Then I finished Delila Green Doesn't Care. This was the Happily Ever After book club pick for the month, and I am still a part of that book club and having a great time. This I really enjoyed. It was a sapphic romance. I gave it 4 stars. I'm going to continue the series because it continues with Astrid's story, and that's what you see in GoodReads when you go to book 2. I'm 100% going to get to it at some point. Absolutely loved it. I will say Delila is a messy, messy main character. So you see a lot of growth and change there, and her reaction with her relationships and things like that and her siblings and stuff is very interesting. So as long as you're okay with family dynamics, I think you will enjoy this one. Then I DNF'd the house. I've had this on my shelf for forever, so it feels good to finally shed that book off my shelf. It was very, very young. So I wouldn't even say YA. I would say almost middle grade because it just was written very, very young. These characters are supposed to be, later high school age, but they were almost saying things like poo poo head. I mean, it was ridiculously young and it was just so slow and it really wasn't scary at all. It almost felt like a book that wanted to be more artsy and metaphorical than real. So I was like, I'm out. Then I tried to read The It Girl. Ruth Ware is very hit or miss for me lately. Some of them I think are just amazing and 4 stars, and a lot of them I DNF or give 3 stars. So I don't know. Do I keep trying Ruth Ware? Give me a recommendation below of a Ruth Ware you absolutely love that you think I should try just in case. Because Emily Henry, sometimes I love or hate. So, and Frida McFadden. So I'm willing to give it a try if you guys say it's worth it. If you guys agree with me that Ruth Ware just isn't for you either, I may stop. I may take her off my backlist wheel and stop picking them up because, yeah, It Girl was very slow. It was very boring. It was definitely not for me and had to DNF it. Then I finished Wind and Truth, my Sanderson Stormlight Archive series, the latest and greatest that's come out. I enjoyed reading this with Tina. I put all my notes in there. She has to read it still and get caught up, but I'm not calling you out. But yeah, so it was a fun ride as usual. You'll notice that 3-star rating is the lowest I've given any Sanderson, and I feel bad about that. I actually talked to a friend of ours who does D&D with us on Fridays, and he agreed. He was like, yeah, this one just kind of was a letdown. There was a whole lot of information. Now, Sanderson can write characters very funny and very interesting, and so he pulls you in with him. And it's not that you're miserable while you're reading about them, but at this point in the series, you're wanting there to be a point to everything that's happening. And it felt like a whole lot of filler. Like a whole lot of things that were happening, and we were following characters that, were doing mundane, everyday things, and it really wasn't progressing the story much at all. It didn't even feel like a chessboard being set up. It just felt like, well, I really like these characters, so I'm going to write about them in their world, which is fine, but not what you expect in a high fantasy series. So it was just kind of a letdown for that reason, and that's why I got the 3-star. Then I finished The Soulmate Equation. This I gave 4 stars. This is my first Christina Lauren, if you can believe it. It was so good, and I enjoyed it. It was sweet. It was a very fun concept about finding your soulmate based solely on your blood, like what different markers you have in your blood, and they match with somebody else. And if you find that platinum level, match, are you willing to take a chance on it? And what happens? Like, are you supposed to be magically connected to them at all times, or is it something that you still have to work on in a relationship? Like, just how authentic is this? And it was just such a fun thing. It was a very cinnamon roll male, so if you don't like cinnamony kind of roll male rolls, may not like it because he is all things sweet. Then I tried to read The Vampire King. I DNF'd it. I know this is another series that is very popular. Unfortunately, it was an extremely heavy info dumping in the beginning. It bored me. You feel like you're thrown into the middle of the story in the very beginning where things are already happening that you would expect in like book 2 of a series. And then you're confused, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of info dump, but not enough to let you know what happened in the beginning. So at this point, I DNF'd at like 20%. I'm still confused about what I read in the beginning. But I have a whole lot of other information that I did not want nor need. So take that as you will. Then I attempted to read When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. This was a book club pick for one of the book tubers that I follow. It was just extremely weird. It was extremely weird and trippy, kind of out-of-body experience stuff. You had people who were living their everyday lives in like a fast food place and wanting to clean things, but then get stabbed by a needle, and then the world starts going trippy and weird, and is it psychedelic? Is it really happening? And it was just too weird for me. I didn't like it. It was not my bag. A lot of other people do. So if you like Nat Cassidy, I say pick it up because this is the newest book from them, but definitely not for me. Then I finished Gone Girl. This is my first Gillian Flynn, and I am not disappointed. I watched the show with Ben Affleck, years ago, and I'd always wanted to read it, and I'm glad I did. I gave it 4 stars. It was crazy. This lady's crazy. But it's really, really good. And there's a lot of extra detail and nuances, of course, like you always have with books that movies can't show or don't show. And so I highly recommend picking it up if you've always wanted to try. I do appreciate the author's writing style a lot, so I'm going to be picking up other books from this author for sure. And I had a good time. As weird as that sounds for the premise of the story, I had a good time. Then I attempted to read Hotel of Secrets. This is for a future vlog coming up. I sadly had to DNF it. I got to about 20% again, and it was boring. It's a kind of historical fiction. We know that's not my bag. You'll see why in the vlog. I had no choice but to pick it up. It just wasn't grabbing me. It maybe would have been a 3-star at the end, but again, I would have been forcing myself to read it. I was very bored with the main lead, both of them, the female and the male. And even though there were some crazy things happening in the hotel, like a Frenchman was sleeping with another man's wife and he's shooting at him, so like funny and exciting kind of things, it just felt very boring for me, very blah. So I sadly had to DNF. So that is all 27 of the books I read / DNF'd for the month. Let me know below what your favorite was for the month and thoughts if you have differing or same thoughts on the ones that I reviewed today. And I look forward to seeing you with a new TBR game tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please like, subscribe, and send your friends, and I'll see you next time.